What's going on, XRP Army? If you're watching the replay of this stream, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark. That's when the stream will actually start beginning. In the meantime, I'm going to be welcoming people into the stream, and then we will actually get things started at the 4-minute mark. But we do have a lot to cover today. We have lots of news in regards to XRP lending, in regards to DeFi protocols going live. I've got some really interesting information in regards to what's actually taking place on the XRP ledger, as well as we will cover all of the ETF inflows and what's actually happening on the chart. There is something happening on the chart. We normally don't pay much attention to it, but there are things happening. So, again, if you are coming into the stream now, we're going to start at the 4-minute mark. See, hello there, Daniel. And in the meantime, I'm getting everything ready here. Normally, I have this up and ready to go, but I was a little behind. That being said, everyone coming in, I appreciate you. I see Daniel's already in the house. And again, as always, we'll wait for the 4-minute mark before we actually get things started. Oh, I was sick over the weekend, so I apologize. I didn't have the weekly long form up on Saturday. I took a day and a half off to recuperate so I could be here for you Monday. And man, I am backlogged on news. So we're going to cover quite a bit today, as well as what's actually happening with the chart and the ETF outflows or inflows, right? What's actually going into the ETF being held in trust. Hello there, Miss Wendy. I see you coming in. And as always, everyone engage in the chat. Chat is the lifeblood of the stream. I enjoy speaking with everyone, hearing your thoughts, opinions, and questions. Eminem Robert, what up? What up, Eminem? I do love me some Eminem. Let's see here. Abdul's in the house. Good morning from California, Abdul. All right. Let's see here. We are currently coming up on the 2-minute mark. We had a lot of stuff go down this weekend. We got some new DeFi on Flare. We have lending going live natively on the XRP ledger. We had an interesting activity on the XRPL directly, which I'm going to highlight because it is very massive, as well as the chart is lining up with our ETF math model that we had last week. And again, I'll touch on that again as well. Everything seems to be converging all at the same time. It's really, really exciting. We're definitely gonna take a look at all of it. And I don't know if I have it pulled up here, but there was an announcement that they are planning on having Clarity Act done in January. I couldn't confirm it, so I didn't do anything on it. But it looks like there are rumors that Clarity is going to be done in January, hopefully. So that would be amazing news as well. We're sitting at the 2:48 mark ish. Raul in the house. Good afternoon, Raul. Welcome to the stream. Again, waiting for the 4-minute mark as always, and we will get started with everything that I have here ready to go for you guys because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. If you guys are subscribed as well, you got the community update that I called out about the RSI indicator I was following. I'm going to touch a little bit more in depth on that. Because it is important to what we've been tracking. Lots of things are lining up, and it's getting spicy. It's getting spicy. Let's see here at the 3.5-minute mark. So if you guys are coming in, or if you're catching the stream for the first time, or you're watching the replay of the stream, the way I do the streams is I will first hop into the chart and the price action, and we'll cover exactly what's happening today. But again, we use the chart for we use the chart for context, the price for context, on what's actually happening in the macroeconomic scheme of XRP, because we are here for the long view, right? We're here for what's going to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, not necessarily what the price is doing today. That's why we track all of these metrics that are going to impact the price, because after the price chart, we will discuss ETF inflows as well as all of the news and anything pressing that we feel may be a part of this. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the stream today. If someone could let me know how many people are in the stream, I'd really appreciate it. But for now, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, XRP Army. Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, kick back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything but engage in the chat. Secondly, if it's your second time here, go ahead and hit subscribe, smash the like button, and engage in the chat. Chat is the lifeblood of the stream. We will cover every single question, thought, opinion after we get through all of the information, have ourselves a little hangout party here, a little XRP hangout party. And then after that, we will hop into a recap and cover everything for anyone who came in late. So without further ado, we will hop into the chart and we'll see exactly what's taking place. Now, I mentioned RSI compression. This is important. Okay, we're currently at 193. In Friday's stream, we were sitting right about the same price. And I was talking about it felt like things were compressing, getting ready for a move. And if you're a subscriber, I also did a post, a community post on this as well, when I noticed what was happening with the RSI indicator, because it's the number one thing I personally track to see what's happening and what's going to happen. And it's a very clear sign of what's about to happen. Again, in my opinion, something I follow closely. So RSI is this is your relative strength index. Okay. We always follow the 1 hour chart. When you're looking at the relative strength index, this is basically overbought versus oversold, buying pressure versus selling pressure. That being said, if we look at where the RSI is now, it's sitting at 54.5 and price is currently at 193.3. All right. So if we go over here to when price was roughly at this same spot, was at the end of this candle. It was at what, 192.9. So over here at the top of this candle, RSI was at 68-ish. So in that time, price has stayed the same. It has maintained, but the RSI has cooled, right? The selling buying pressure has become more neutral while price is staying flat. This is bullish. This is extremely bullish. This basically means it's clearing space, clearing pressure for another move up, which aligned perfectly with our math model that we were discussing here. It was saying that after a 5 to 10% depletion, which would be 250 million to 500 million XRP, there should be a 20 to 40% move imminent if we're looking at this. So that being said, let's hop back over to here. That being said, RSI is cooling while price is staying flat. This is supporting that same narrative that something is about to pop. Again, just something to watch, something I'm paying attention to, but the timing is not nothing to me. Again, that being said, let's see what is happening with the entire crypto market. Right now, everything is looking green today. Velo, which several people pointed out in the stream when I started doing this chat bubble, Velo up 12% today. So I definitely need to take a look at that. You guys tried to warn me on that. HBAR up 5%, Chainlink up 3%, XRP up 1%. Everything is up today. It is a green day. Green is good. We love green. But again, we're not here for immediate prices. That being said, let's take a look and see what's actually happening within the ETF. So Friday was the last time I refreshed this. So as of Friday morning, Franklin Templeton was at 96 million. Let's see what it's at today. As of now, Franklin Templeton still at 96 million. So no change for Franklin Templeton. Let's hop over to Grayscale, see what they did. They were at 110 million on Friday morning. And let's see if they have any change in theirs. Their page is always weird. Okay, so they're now at 115 million. So they've gained an additional 5 million XRP into their trust. Canary Capital was at 175 million. They're still at 175 million, so no change for Canary Capital. Bitwise was at 112 million. They're still at 112 million, so no change for Bitwise. And 21 shares was at 128 million, and now they're at 132. So 21 shares gained 4 million. So roughly another 10 million-ish XRP locked into supply, nothing left. Again, still coming away. And that being said, so ETFs are still buying, right? ETFs are still buying. Doesn't matter what the price is doing. They are still collecting XRP. We have not once had a day of outflows as far as XRP ETFs. Not once. This is bullish. Okay, institutions are buying XRP no matter what. It is a clear rotation into XRP. And I'm not the only one saying that. Many other people are saying that. But let's take a look at some actual facts as far as what's happening on the XRP ledger. Okay, I pulled this up. I did a short on this. Okay, but if you didn't catch the short, this is the account set activity. And I want to point out something very clear. Okay, so this is the end of November into December. You see these account sets that are happening here, 37,000, 40,000. And then we come over here, there was a little break. We come over here, 39,000, 38,000, another 39,000, dip down to 19,000. Like, this is consistent, right? 40,000, 40,000, 40,000. We had a little break and now it's starting again. We had, what was it? 3,000, then a 37,000. Then, you see all these are different days. Here's the 21st was 31,000. So we're having this account set activity all spiking. But if you look at the XRP ledger, if you look at this bottom line here of the XRP ledger, this row down here, and look at the account set activity for the life of the XRP ledger versus looking at what's happened in the last 30 days, this is ridiculous. This is by far more growth in account sets than XRP seen in its entirety of its existence in a 30-day period. More account sets, like, look at that. I mean, that is night and day. Like, that is ridiculous. They've probably done more in the last 30 days than they have in the life of the XRP ledger. So they are building something. Something is being built. And it's quite interesting that all of this is happening right at the time that we're talking about XRP lending going live. Ripple lets institutions borrow like cash. Ripple rolls out a native XRP lending, unlocking institutional grade borrowing. According to market analyst Diana, Ripple is preparing a major XRP ledger upgrade that could redefine institutional use of XRP. The planned native lending feature would allow native lending feature that would allow institutions to borrow XRP directly on chain, mirroring traditional money market functionality. This is not another experimental DeFi layer or third-party lending. Ripple's proposal embeds lending directly into the XRP ledger core, allowing XRP to be lent, locked, deployed, and repaid entirely on ledger. For institutions that demand regulated, predictable infrastructure, this distinction is decisive. Protocol level rules replace counterparty exposure and smart contract uncertainty with built-in transparency enforcement. Each loan is fully isolated, meaning a default is contained to the single position, eliminating systemic cascading risk. They are changing financial institutional lending on ledger with the XRP. This is not nothing. They announced this while account sets are spiking. They also announced this while account sets are spiking. Earn XRP launches on Flare, first XRP denominated yield product. Upshift, Clearstar, and Flare have unveiled Earn XRP, a new on-chain yield vault that allows XRP holders to earn compounded XRP denominated return. Upshift, Clearstar, and Flare launch Earn XRP. We just repeated that. Why do they repeat that? XRP holders can now generate yield directly and denominated in XRP without managing complex DeFi strategies themselves. The Flare XRP yield vault is made possible by Flare's F assets system, supported by Upshift's vault infrastructure and curated by Clearstar on-chain risk. Clearstar and on-chain risk manager with institutional expertise. Earn XRP is the first fully on-chain product denominated in XRP. It allows users to deposit FXRP, XRP represented one-to-one on Flare, into a single vault and deploys capital across diversified set of yield strategies. One-click DeFi is coming, guys. One-click DeFi is on our doorstep. Let's talk about what Canary Capital has to say. CEO Stephen McClurg says the investor mix is showing up in XRP ETFs is broader and more institutional than the market tends to assume. The interest coming from pension funds and insurance allocators who prefer a regulated brokerage narrative wrapper over the operational burden of spot. Usually when the launch of new ETF has been in the market before, it's usually retail adoption that happens first. So we've seen a lot of impact from retail audience in the first week or two, and then we started getting calls from pension funds and insurance companies globally, McClurg revealed. He added that the second market segment that we market to Canary, but we're seeing a lot of interest there. XRP truly is an asset that most of Wall Street and most of global capital markets get. It's easy to understand. It's the rails of the financial system. So of course they're very interested, but those are the two segments we've seen thus far. So it's not just retail. They are getting global pension funds, and this is massive adoption for XRP. Let's continue though. XRP gets the money. Think about that. XRP gets the money. Weekly inflows jumped to 34% while US investors pull back. While the crypto fund complex just printed its first weekly outflow in 4 weeks. So crypto as a whole printed an outflow. for the last 4 weeks as a whole. One line stayed green and got bigger. XRP. Fresh CoinShares data of the week. CoinShares. Okay. Fresh CoinShares data of the week in the week available shows digital asset investment products losing 952 million, with Bitcoin taking 460 million loss and Ethereum taking 555 million loss. A pattern CoinShares ties to the Clarity Act delays and the return of whale selling anxiety. Inside that red week, XRP pulled in 62.9 million. That is a 34% jump from the prior week. So not only did it maintain positive inflows, it grew week over week while everyone else was losing, while Bitcoin and Ethereum were losing. So that is rotation out of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs institutionally into XRP. That's not saying they did more inflows, holistically, but even while Bitcoin and Ethereum are losing, XRP is still taking in inflows. Not one day of outflows in XRP ETFs. Institutions are behind this. That being said, it is a 34% jump from the weeks prior. Let's see here. The largest positive figure on the table ahead of Solana's 48.5 million. So they did 62.9, Solana did 48.5. XRP is sitting at 354.6 million of inflows with 3.24 billion year to date, and about 2.946 billion in assets under management, according to CoinShares. And right here, you can see the chart. XRP right here is the only, it won't let me highlight over it, but XRP right here is the largest winner by far. The altcoins in general are doing better than Ethereum and Bitcoin as far as inflows. So that being said, that's not nothing, guys. There is a clear institutional need for XRP. Upbit goes wild and sees 1.55 billion in panic-driven trading. XRP is surging on South Korea's Upbit amid panic buying, racking up 1.5 billion in trading volume over the past 7 days, outpacing major global exchanges and signaling heightened investor urgency. What does South Korea know that everyone else doesn't? I don't know. But they are definitely all about their XRP in South Korea. Something is happening. On-chain data says something is happening, right? The account set data says something is being built. ETFs have not had any outflows whatsoever since they have launched. Institutions are just buying. It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. That has been my opinion for a very long time now. But that being said, everything is lining up. Something is about to happen. I don't know what, I don't know when, I don't know what it's going to look like, but there is a lot of pressure building around XRP right now. Something's going to pop. It has to. That being said, let's hop into the chat and see what everyone's doing today, because that's all the info I have for you right now. Daniel Parker's in the house. Miss Wendy's in the house. Eminem Robert showed up today. Abdul's here today. Raul hopped in today. And Barton Hughes, he was my first question. I believe it's a he, so let's go with that. Barton Hughes said, do you think an oil price spike may cause the Japanese carry trade to unwind and XRP to be brought in as a solution to stabilize the markets? I do believe we're going to have more of a soft landing when it comes to the carry trade. It doesn't look like oil's spiking right now, but there is an oil crisis brewing. If we take a look at what's actually happening with the US dollar to the yen yen's been weakening, which would indicate that they need to hike again. And it's not looking better for them. We have had a slight improvement, but it's kind of plateauing around this 156, which is bad news for Japan and bad news for the carry trade thought process. Because it looked like nothing happened from it. The yen got weaker to the dollar, because remember, it was 154 earlier. So the yen is actually gotten weaker to the dollar. The dollar has gotten stronger over the last couple weeks. That's something we follow here. That being said, they need to hike again in Japan. And Japan has been urged by many, what is it? I can't remember the name of the forum, but the people who handle global money supply and they were urged by them to ease up on their hiking because they wanted to hike higher. So we'll see what happens, but I do think we're looking at more of a soft landing on the carry trade. Now, if the oil crisis continues, we'll have to see what happens with Venezuela and with oil, everything going on right now. We'll have to see how that unfolds. But right now, it doesn't seem to be having an impact. It is possible though, but I think it's less likely to have some kind of crisis that's going to create a spike in the carry trade, as opposed to having a more of a soft landing carry trade like we're actually seeing unfold right now. Again, my opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Kaylin said, make sure to like the chat as well. I appreciate you, Kaylin. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys engage in the chat. I'm going to answer every question, talk to every comment. We've gone through all the materials. So now I'm here for you all. Again, I love building this community. I'm here to talk to you all. I'm another XRP Army guy, just like you guys are. Let's see here. Brad said 22 in the stream as of right now. So when we started, there were 22 in the stream. I appreciate that. If someone can let me know how many people we have in the stream now, I'd really appreciate it as I'm going through these comments. All right. Turple Nurple gave me some combat here, some cross swords. Okay. Fast Black Kid. I hope you're in the NFL. No, that's terrible. Is XRP going to dip again? When will this reverse carry trade happen? I mean, it's always possible for it to dip, but we still have our 175 to 177 support level. That's going to really depend on, macro elements, really, what's happening with the grand scheme of crypto and the markets as a whole. Right now, the way everything is looking, it looks like we're about to have some kind of run up, probably a 20 to 40% run up now. And then according to our model, if you are new, we ran this last week. We ran our ETF math model along with what was actually happening in the chart. And according to the math, it says a 20 to 40% increase is imminent, as well as another 20 to 40% increase 4 to 8 weeks from now. And again, that's just math. That is not FOMO. That's not adoption. That is not any of that. This is just, the math numbers we are following based on what the ETFs are taking and actually removing from supply and nothing else. That's what it's based on. So yes, it can drop lower. I do believe 175, 177 area is our support. And then again, I'm expecting it to go up right now. That's again, based on everything I'm seeing in the indicators and the math, I'm expecting an increase 20 to 40%. And if a funny thing for those of you who've been here a while, you see this price chart and you see this line that we keep bumping up against that's drawn out here. Do any of you remember what that is? That was when ETFs started going live and we came out and we drew out this wedge back here that we fell out of. We were tracking this wedge saying we need to break through this wedge with volume in order to get a breakout. We fell through the wedge. Well, now it's trying to reclaim the wedge right at this convergence point over here, right? There's nowhere for this wedge to go once we cross here. This may just shoot straight up. Like if we were to extend this out, I wonder if it'll let me. If we were to extend this out here, like so, and extend this one out, you can see if this continues, this isn't going to have room to go. This will be fast, okay? There's a lot of pressure building in this point for whatever reason. Like technically, that's what I'm seeing. Along with the ETF inflows and you tie that into the model saying a breakout's imminent, it feels like something's about to happen. Again, not financial advice. That's, just math and everything else. So that being said, let's move on. Or will it pump? Hopefully that answers. I don't believe we're going down. Again, I could be very wrong. But based on what I'm seeing right now, I think we're about to get an increase. Again, not financial advice. And again, nothing in this stream is ever financial advice. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I want you to do your own research, take the information, and build your own theory and thesis. This is just what mine is and my opinion. Let's see. What does Steven have to say? I don't want to hit that button. Okay. I'm all the way to the bottom of this now. I got to catch up to where I was. Stephen Haynes. Where was Stephen Haynes' comment? That's where I was. I lost it. Hang on. I'm fine. There it is. Stephen Haynes' comment. How is it that these other cryptos can surge and XRP has all these wins and nothing happens? XRP got to 367 once without all these wins. Positive news. we have gotten lately. So yes, you're right. So it comes down to supply and demand. Whales have been selling. People have been selling it. There is sell pressure. So we are talking about what is actually being removed in locked into the ETFs. There's been a transfer, it seems like, from whales selling during these low prices in the ETFs and OTCs, and everyone just gobbling it up. They're literally during this entire selling pressure since the ETFs have gone live, it has just literally flowed into the ETFs. Because if you look at the exchange balances we've tracked, the exchanges over the last 60 days have lost $1.6 billion worth of XRP. We just read that ETFs now, right? Index and spot ETFs are now holding close to $2 billion worth of actual XRP assets. So the ETFs have accumulated more than what's come off of the exchanges and more than what's selling, but it's not impacting the price because it's still happening OTC. People are selling into it. It's fear-based. It's going to change eventually. Again, my opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Nick says XRP going to 158 by the end of 2025. I don't agree, Nick. I think 175, 177 is our lowest level. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. We'll find out very shortly, won't we? We got 9 days left to find out, so we'll figure it out. Matthew said, our time is more valuable than this. This game is about over. What game is that? I guess I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Our time is valuable. Time is very valuable. Desiree, good morning to Desiree. Thank you very much. Daniel Parker said, I think it will be around $2 at the end of the year. Then we'll start to move up slowly in January. And then I'm hoping FOMO will spike it rapidly $5 to $10. I think we're going to see, me personally, I do think we're going to see an increase. According to the math, I believe the math. I think we're going to see a 20 to 40% increase before the end of the year, just based on the math. And then according to the same model, if that does happen, that validates the model. And then I would expect another 20 to 40% increase in 4 to 8 weeks as more XRP gets removed. So as we can see, XRP physically getting locked up in supply, every 5 to 10% of XRP that gets locked up in supply mathematically, according to supply and demand, we should see an increase of about 20 to 40% in the price. That's the mathematical model that I'm following. So I'm waiting to see if that is validated. According to the model now, a 20 to 40% increase is imminent. All right. Let's see here. Araya says it's cooking. It certainly is. This compression that's happening right now, it's certainly cooking. Cordell Lewis said, what are your top 5 crypto investments? My top 5 crypto investments are XRP. It's my number 1. I also am a big believer in Chainlink and Hedera. I also like Avalanche. I also like Ondo. I also like Flare. But my big three are Hedera, Chainlink, and XRP by far. Let's see here. Fast Blackhead. Haha, I'm a military veteran. Was fastest in unit. Ran a 4.5. All right. Well, ran a 4.5 what? I'm 4.5 mile? Is that a 4.5 minute mile, I'm guessing? I was never that fast. I was in the Air Force. I'm a disabled veteran as well, so thank you for your service. As an Air Force, and I did my absolute best. We did 1.5 miles for our PT test, and I did what was it, 10.5 minutes was my best time when I was at my peak shape. But I was never the fastest. I'm a bigger guy, you know what I'm saying? So I always push the limits there. Turple Nurple said U.S. Air Force Special Operations. Well, thank you for your service. Which part? Which spec ops were you? I was stationed at Keesler Air Force Base. I worked a lot with those guys because I did tactical ground radio and airfield systems, and I know a lot of the special forces still had to go through the same radio training I did. So I was at Keesler as well. Let's see here. Harik says, how long will it take to get to $50 to $100? According to the model, probably we would see high double digits end of 26 going into 27, again depending on FOMO, adoption, overall market. And again, this is just a mathematical model. There's no guarantee, but XRP is being removed from supply, and math does not lie. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Let's see here. Fast Black Kid said, nice, bro. Thank you for your service. Sir Charles managed to drop by. He got his 2 cups of coffee in today. That's all the chat. Keep the chat going. I'm going to hop into a recap, though. We are now at the 30-minute mark. So let's go ahead and do the recap of what, for everyone who came in late, so we can cover everything. So we covered the price. We talked about the price being at 193. We talked about compression of RSI. What is RSI? RSI is your relative strength index. That's this box down here. So relative strength index is basically buying versus selling pressure. One of the biggest things I look at is what is price doing relative to RSI. So with price hanging out here at 193, and the RSI is at 54. If we go over here to when price was roughly 193, which was right about this mark, 192.8, you can see that the RSI was sitting right here in this upper level around this 65 to 70 mark. So price has not changed, but we have relieved the RSI pressure. This is typically, this is the biggest indicator that gives room to a next shot up, or the reverse shot down. If you see the reverse of this, right? If price is going down while RSI is staying flat, that's, relieving pressure to go the other way. Right now, we're seeing price stay the same while RSI goes down. That usually says we're about to have a move up. Again, not financial advice, just the way I'm reading the chart, but that is a very clear indicator that lines up with everything we've been talking about. We also talked about the entire market is up today. Lots of people called out VLO and called out VLO last week, and it's up 12% today. HBAR is up 5%, Chainlink's up 3%, Doge is up 4%, Ondo is up 4%. But again, as far as cryptos I like, it's one I get asked all the time. My top 3: XBAR, Chainlink, XRP, Chainlink, and HBAR, excuse me. I also do like Algorand. I like XDC. I do hold a little bit of those. I hold a little bit of Flare, and I like Ondo and Avalanche. I hold a little bit of those as well. But my big 3, everything else I just kind of play around with. My big 3 are these 3 up here. XRP, Chainlink, and HBAR are definitely my favorites. That being said, moving on to the ETFs, we covered the ETFs. Again, the inflow streak continues. We have not had anything sell off yet. Franklin Templeton is still at 96 million. Grayscale went up 5 million and they went to 115 million. Canary Capital had no change. They stayed at 175 million. Bitwise had no change and stayed at 112 million. But 21 shares gained an additional 4 million XRP. So again, 9 million XRP was added to the ETF's trust over the weekend, I guess, since Friday. And then we also talked about this. This is a bigger indicator than I think anyone realizes. And this is what really actually set my alarm bell off that something is about to happen. This is the account sets on the XRPL. And if you look at this, if you actually take a look at this account set activity throughout the course of XRP, right? If this bottom metric down here, this bottom chart, throughout the course of XRP, this account set activity surpasses the entire history of the ledger by far. By far. So, I mean, something is being built. We're talking 40,000 account sets a day going active on the XRP ledger. I mean, they're building something. We talked about XRP lending going live. Ripple lets institutions borrow like cash. So Ripple's rolling out native XRP lending. We also talked about Earn XRP launches on Flare, the first XRP denominated yield product. So Flare is now launching new XRP yield earning assets. We talked about Canary Capital saying there is a big jump or a larger than expected jump in institutions wanting to invest in XRP ETFs, not just retail. That's a massive thing. And then we're talking about this. XRP is getting the money, showing that they have the largest amount of inflows while Ethereum and Bitcoin and multi-asset ETFs are losing, right? They are having outflows while XRP records a 62 million inflow. The larger than anyone else. Solana's still doing strong at 48 million, but not as good as XRP. And you look at the year-to-date flows here, Solana is doing more than XRP, but remember, Solana was active before XRP. So food for thought there. And then we moved into what is actually happening over in South Korea with a massive panic-driven trading of 1.5 billion that happened over the last week. Massive 1.5 billion volume on Upbit in South Korea in regards to XRP. It is ridiculous. The craving for XRP is not stopping. Price will follow eventually. Again, not financial advice, but I mean, it you can't make it up. It's on the screen for you all. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. So let's hop back into the chat. So Fast Black Kid said 4.5 40-yard dash, 6-minute 30-second mile. Nice, bro. I'm at 100% with the VA as well. Make sure you get your 100% benefits, 4K monthly payment, and no property taxes on house. I'm working on it. I'm a 60% disabled veteran, and I have my claims in. I had multiple strokes back 3 years ago, and now I just found out about 6 months ago, if I am in too much stress, I get hemorrhages in my brain. I get brain bleeds under immense stress. So I'm working with the American Legion and the VSO and my neurologist to get me bumped up to 100%. It just, it takes time. They told me 12 to 24 months minimum before I see my increase if I get approved for it, which I'm sure I will. But, it just takes time. I'm working on it. Harik said, when should we sell Bitcoin if it's going down, or is it? I can't predict Bitcoin's going down. I started selling mine when it got up to 110,000 and started working my way out of it and rotating into other things. I'm fully out of Bitcoin now. I'm sure it's going to probably pump again at some point. I don't know when. There's too much money in it for it to go away right now. If it did go away right now, it would be detrimental for XRP and for the entire crypto market. And everyone was worried about the Epstein files crashing Bitcoin. Obviously, that didn't happen because they were largely redacted. If there's anything that's going to be a macro like volume thing with Bitcoin or Satoshi, something to do with the Satoshi coins. So I don't see Bitcoin having a massive crash right this moment, but it will happen eventually. So, I mean, I would say dollar cost average it is the best way. That's what I did. When it hit 110, I started selling it, and then, it got up to 120, and then it came back down. I just, sold all the way up and down until I got out, and I wasn't fully out of it until I want to say it was right about 95,000. So that's how I didn't pick a specific price. I said once it hits this price, I'm going to start selling, and I started dollar cost averaging out. And I think I ended up selling all of it when it was all said and done. I think the average sell price was like 102,000, I think. So it worked out well for me, but I mean, I do think it's going to go up again, but I can't guarantee it. I mean, there's too many factors sitting around right now, honestly, I would start dollar cost averaging. If you truly want to get out of it, I would just start dollar cost averaging out. I mean, that same way you would dollar cost average in is the safest way. That would be my opinion, not financial advice. Let's see here. Harik also asked, not much, but not sure if we're swapping for these crypto you mentioned. Well, again, before you swap for anything, do your own research. Okay, look into them. I am looking at things with adoption. I don't want you to buy it just because I said it. So, I mean, go do some research on, know what you hold. Okay. If it goes up or down, it shouldn't matter to you once you've made a decision, right? Unless, new information comes out later fundamentally. But again, those are what I'm looking at for their use case and adoption and their partnerships and things like that. Chainlink is heavily connected. HBAR is heavily connected. Ondo is heavily connected. So I'm looking, follow the money. Follow the money. The money tells you where to go. The 30 people in the stream. Okay, that's good. Abdul asked, are there any XRP ETFs that give dividends? What is the symbol? Not yet. But if you caught the short today, maybe I can pull it up for you. Let me see here. I'll see if I can pull up the short that I did this morning. We do have a new ETF coming that does that. And let's talk about it. Let me find it for you. I announced it this morning. If I can find the video. Nothing like watching my own shorts during the stream. Let's see here. Pause. All right, we want to go to my channel. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's see. Bear with me. I'm going to find it for you real quick, and we will watch it, and we will talk about, what were we talking about? My brain. Oh, yes, any ETFs that give dividends. So this is what we found recently right here. This was quiet. No one really talked about it, but it's important. So let me pull it up for you here. This is the one. Yeah, a new short went live while we were streaming, by the way, guys, if you want to catch that when we're done. But this is the one I did this
Why SEC filing, but it matters. On December 19th, Curve ETF Trust filed an N1A amendment for a new product, Curve XRP Enhanced Income ETF. Think of it like this. Owning XRP is owning the house, and a 3 times leverage ETF is like betting on a house. An income ETF is renting the house and collecting cash flow. You don't build rental products on houses you think might collapse. For this to exist, the system has to believe XRP derivatives are reliable, pricing is stable enough for options, and clearing works. That's why this shows up after XRP derivatives go live and alongside products like Granite Shares 3 times ETF going live on December 30th. No drama, no loud headlines, just permission. This isn't about price, it's about risk tolerance changing. Next thing to watch is going to be open interest, clearing, and Ripple Prime. Make sure you're subscribed. Quiet SEC.
There you go. So we do have a new ETF that was just registered on the 19th. So once that gets through the SEC, that one will pay you to hold it. It is an income-bearing ETF. So it is on the horizon. We are starting to see it. It's going to be similar to, your staking options ones as we're starting to get native lending and native staking, Flare protocol. All these things are going to bring on more products through 2026. It's going to grow. It's going to accelerate. We talked about in our model last week that this was based on no accelerants. If we get any kind of accelerant in this ETF or in these ETFs, be it more ETFs, right? Be it, increased adoption, be it more people wanting to buy them, right? More FOMO. Any of those things that would cause an accelerant are going to speed up this process as well. This was baseline based on what we've seen to this point. And, again, it's adding up. Everything adds up. It's going to go eventually. Let's see here. Why are whales selling? So, when you're talking about institutional investors, right? You talk about whales, there's going to be profit taking and selling. There's a lot of people who accumulated XRP when it was 11 cents, 20 cents, all of these things. It's, they've made a 20, 30x on their XRP. They're going to take profits. It's just what institutions do. It's smart, no offense to, again, mind you, I'm a buy and die. Okay. I haven't sold my XRP. I'm not going to sell our XRP. So this very next statement, take that with a grain of salt. But that's what smart investors do. They're going to dollar cost average. They're going to dollar cost average in and dollar cost average out and take profits. It's how large institutions work. We're going to see it. But very important to note, we looked at the whale activity. The medium-sized whales we reported, you can go back a couple streams ago. The medium-sized whales, the ones holding 1 million to 10 million XRP, were the ones doing the selling. The larger whales, the ones holding 10 million plus, they were the ones doing the accumulating. So the whale wallets that were holding 10 million plus purchased more XRP. I want to say the article we looked at, they took in 350 million XRP. The large whales did, while the mid-sized whales sold 330 million XRP. So it's not necessarily that whales are selling, they're shifting, it seems like. The big whales are saying, okay, we'll take it, and they're buying more. All right, let's take a look here. That being said, see what we got in the chat here. So that someone asked why the whales were selling. Fast Black Kid asked, good, bro. I used VBG Veterans Benefits Guide, applied in January, got approved May 5th. 5 months wait. Wow, that was fast. If you don't get it with your current company, highly recommend this one. They use their own doctors. Well, the good news is, Fast Black Kid, FBK, you're FBK now. The good news is, FBK, I have a letter. Actually, I have a Nexus letter from my neurologist, from a VA doctor, basically connecting all my stuff for me. So, I have as full proof of a argument to a claim for 100% as anybody. I mean, because my main disability was my anxiety disorder. That was a 50%, and the strokes increased the anxiety, which which is increasing me to a 70% anxiety. Again, I have a letter from my psychiatrist for that. And then I have my neurologist connecting the strokes to my anxiety disorder. And I have a nexus letter from her that's about as concrete as you can get in the VA. So as soon as it goes through, I should be good. But, I have to wait. The back pay will be nice when I finally do get it, though. So I'm right there with you, man. And then for those of you, if my eye is looking messed up, I have a migraine right now. I can feel it starting to close on me. Let's see here. Yeshua says, hello, what's your thoughts on, I don't even know what that is, so I don't have thoughts on that. I'll have to pass on that one. FBK says VA has to respect doctor signatures so they approve it. We can hope. FBK said XRP for life. Appreciate the content. And I appreciate you guys. Harik says Ethereum's going up. Everything's going up right now, Harik. Ethereum is Wall Street's baby. Oh, you're asking, is Ethereum going to go up in the long run? Well, I say follow the money. I am not a fan of Ethereum because I really don't think it's the best product out there for what it does. However, that being said, it is Wall Street's baby. It has heavy backing from a lot of money. It's going to be profitable. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's, if you want my opinion, that's what I believe. I believe it's going to be profitable. I believe it's going to go up. I don't know when or how it's going to have a pullback. I don't follow it that closely, other than the fact that I know Wall Street is heavily behind Ethereum. So I do believe it will go up as an overall investment, but I do not think the return on investment for Ethereum will necessarily be higher than what some of the other options are, just based on use case adoption, those kinds of things. But that's just my opinion. So I've gone through the entire chat. I've gone through the recap with y'all. We've been going up. We're about 48 minutes. So I think that's a good place to call it a wraps right now. Again, I think, again, not financial advice, but according to our math model, 20 to 40% increase is imminent. And RSI has been coiling at this $1.93 level. So I think something's about to happen. Again, not financial advice, but we're going to keep an eye out this week. Something's about to move, I feel like. That being said, that's the end of the stream. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. All right, later.